If you look back at all the big executives who have gone down for breaking the law, Enron leadership, Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX, Bernie Madoff, you realize all these bad leaders either didn't follow or didn't even have a set of values to follow and live by in the first place. And if you look at all the good leaders, the successful leaders, you'll notice that they all have a set of values that they hold close to them, that they follow, and they let serve as the guiding principles in their lives and businesses. Today, we're going to discuss why those guiding set of principles known as values are so important and how you can set and stick to a set of values yourself. Don't forget, if you get any value out of this video, like and subscribe and put your notifications on and tell your friends and enemies. And if you comment the word leadership, we'll give you a shout out in the future episode. All right, let's go. All right, this is Libretti Leadership Lab number 4 with me, Libretti, John Libretti, founder of SPEARHEAD Leadership. 20 plus years of leadership experience, including 14 in the military as an Air Force intelligence officer, leading military and civilian intelligence professionals in combat for the Special Operations Forces, different government agencies, and bringing all that leadership experience now to you guys through SPEARHEAD Leadership. You can check out our website at www.spearheadleadership.co. Subscribe to this podcast on YouTube as Spearhead Leadership. Check us out on Instagram at _Spearhead Leadership, and even on LinkedIn at Spearhead Leadership. If you want to become a better leader in your life, if you're trying to solve problems in your business and you need help, if you're promoting to a leadership role and you need help and you don't know what you're doing, or if you think you know what you're doing but you still want help, reach out to us. We're the best in the business for it. Thank you guys for being here. Last episode of the Libretti Leadership Lab, we talked about relationships, the importance of relationships, and the true key to building a better team around you, built on success and trust and respect and everything. I highly recommend you go check it out. If you're watching us on YouTube, I'll drop the link in the top right corner here, or the top left corner. I don't know what YouTube does. I think it's the top left corner, actually. So we'll put that link for you there in case you're interested in that. Today, we're talking about values. They're as mentioned in the intro, the guiding principles, your left and right limits of moral and ethical practices and actions that are going to help serve as those guardrails towards your goals and your vision. Okay, we're going to talk about vision and the relationship between your vision and your values in a future show, in a future episode of the Libretti Leadership Lab, because that's a separate discussion in and of itself, why that's important and how you can do that, how you can build your vision and purpose and why. That's all related to this. So we're going to have a dedicated episode to talking about that. But just know that you align your vision and your values together in this journey of improved leadership. So today we're talking about values. Again, I like to consider them your moral and ethical boundaries. I do a lot of sports references and a lot of sports examples. Think of it as the bowling lane of leadership in life, your business perhaps, okay? The pins are your goal, your vision, your purpose, your why. Trying to knock those pins down, okay? The ball is the process of your team, how you're going to get to it. Same with your emotion, all that other stuff. The guardrails, your values are your bumpers on the bowling lane. Okay? Now, here's the thing. In real life, in bowling, very different. In bowling, nobody wants to put the bumpers on except for just kids, usually. But in real life, you want the bumpers there. You need the guardrails there to make sure you're staying on track to achieve your vision and your purpose. If you had the choice between no guardrails, no guidance, and guidance, we're choosing guidance. The best leaders are always choosing guidance and guardrails and values. You can look at any professional, any successful leader in your life or any famous successful leader, they all identified and followed and stuck to a set of values, those moral and ethical guardrails, those guiding principles towards their vision and their purpose. So, in short, that is why it's so important to have these values, because it's gonna protect you and it's gonna keep you on the right path for you to accomplish your goals without compromising your morals and ethics. Too many times, leaders in any walk of life, business owners, leaders, people in relationships, they lose sight of their vision and their original purpose and why because they don't have these values, or because the guardrails were not strong enough. The boundaries that they set up, established early on, are no longer strong anymore. They're lower. You can jump over them. And that's what they did. They kind of crossed over those lines, blurred the lines, whatever phrase you want to use, and they got away from their values and their vision and lost their path, essentially. Okay? If you look back at all those executives that you see in the news, all the people that get in trouble, all the captains of sports teams, the professional athletes that get in trouble for stuff, whether it's, performance-enhancing drugs, fraud, defrauding the company, stealing, lying on cooking their books and their business. They either never had values to begin with, or more commonly, those values fell by the wayside. They started making more compromises against those values, to the point where now they seem lost. They seem like bad people. They seem like evildoers, but really, they were good people. They were good people that just became poor leaders and lost sight of those values, and they didn't stick to them. They didn't hold anybody else to them as well. So, as a good leader, you not only want to set a list of core values, you want to stick to them yourself. You want to hold your team accountable. And these values, they should be incorporated into every aspect of your business and life. And more often than not, your values for your business are going to align with your personal values as well. Especially if you're the business owner creating the business, you're creating it around your personal values and goals anyway. So they're going to align. But every other aspect of your business or your team or company or whatever is gonna have these values and should have these values incorporated into it. Whether it's holding your team accountable, setting the expectations for them, it's going to be rooted in the values and the vision. Who you recruit and hire to your team should absolutely be rooted in finding people that align with your vision and values. It should be ingrained into every aspect of your business and operations. And then in turn, your day-to-day habits as well. So it's absolutely paramount that you take the time to identify the core set of values for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that, how to create those guardrails in your business and your personal life, and how to hold people accountable to those. How to hold your team accountable. Okay? So you want to identify, this is a little bit of a how-to for you guys to do it right at home now. You can start now. You can just take notes if you want. I always have a notepad out to take notes on stuff to start your process. Take action now. Even if you don't own a business, you just come across this page and you're just trying to improve yourself as a leader in life. Having a good set of values and sticking to them is never going to be a bad thing. It's never going to steer you wrong. So even if you don't own a business, you're not a law firm owner, you're not in a managerial supervisor position in your company that you work for in your career, that's okay. Be a good leader in your life for yourself, for those around you, for your family, and you can work on this as well. So you want to identify what's important to you. What is it that you hold so valuable that you're not willing to compromise against? For me, for example, one of the things is my health, my physical, mental, and emotional health. For a number of reasons that I will discuss at a future episode when we talk about the importance of health as a leader, physical, mental, emotional well-being as a leader. But that's a value of mine. Being healthy is a value of mine, and it's part of my big three, which are I talk about at the end of every episode. The three pillars that I discussed, the big three, those are part of my list of core values. Health is one of them because I hold my physical, mental, and emotional health and wellness high up on the chain of priorities in my life. Not just for me selfishly, because obviously I want to be healthy, but it's for those around me too. For the team, I want to be at 100% physically, mentally, emotionally. For the teams I lead, for my family and friends, when I want to be present with them, I want to be at my best as often as possible. And improving and working on my physical, mental, emotional health is the way to do it. So that's a value of mine. Okay. Other things you've heard people discuss: having integrity, having good work ethic, values rooted in faith. These are all examples. Family. These are all examples of things that are that important to you that you're gonna work towards, and never compromise against, never cross boundaries or thresholds against. Now, some of you might be asking, what do you mean when you say family? Yeah, but how do you create a value out of that and then create boundaries for that? Well, you set up, hey, family is so important to me that we're not working past 5 p.m. in our team unless we absolutely have to, and we're going to schedule it ahead of time. Hey, we got a big project that's very important to reach our company, our team's strategic goals and vision. So we're going to have to work extra on this day. So let's everybody coordinate with your families ahead of time to make this sacrifice happen, make this work for this short period of time. Otherwise, we're all getting home to be with our families by 5 o'clock every day so that you can spend time with them. You can go to their sports practices. You can go to their dance recitals. You can spend time. You can read with them. You can play dolls with them. Whatever it is, go on date night. That's an example, just one example of how you can make family part of your core values and an action item and a boundary to stick to that you hold yourself accountable to and you hold your team accountable to. Something like that. So that's what you want to do first. You want to identify the value, the important things, list them out. And then you want to come up with your own personal boundaries, those left and right limits, morally and ethically, that you will not cross for those values. And that's different for everybody. Okay? That's not going to be the same. My idea of health and wellness and fitness and getting a good workout in is very different from somebody else's. My idea of a work ethic is very different from somebody else's. So there's no need to go look at how others are identifying their values, what's important to them, and then creating their own boundaries. You can look if you're curious to see how they're doing things, but don't compare to the point where you think you have to be like that. Oh, this company has, we're going to work 12 hours a day because that's what our work ethic value. No. Your boundaries are your boundaries, what you make of them. But keep in mind, they have to be important to you and your business and your vision. Okay? Everything, again, has to align. So they got to be important to you, your team, business, whatever buzzword. And you have to come up with a boundary that you're a threshold boundary that you're not willing to cross at all. There's a dead end. There is a red line, if you will, that no matter what, once I hit this, that's it. We're not going past this. Myself, nobody on the team, we're not going past these boundaries. This is the threshold. These are the guardrails. This is it. These are the lanes in the road. If you don't like that, if you cross these boundaries, you will be held accountable. You hold yourself accountable, you hold your team accountable. So you have to identify what those limits are, how big those boundaries are, how narrow they are, how strict those are going to be. There has to be a point of zero tolerance. Point of no return, if you will. There has to be that dead end of like, no matter what, like we'll give you a lot of leash. Some people have a lot more leash than others in the values department, and that's up to you to decide morally and ethically what your left and rights are. But there has to be a point that you don't cross. Because if you don't have that point and you're open to crossing and coming back and going as far as you think needed to accomplish whatever goals you think you might have, then your values are useless at that point. Then you're really not following your values. Okay? For example, Enron. A lot of people know about Enron. They defrauded their company. I forgot exactly what they were doing, cooking the books, showing more profits than they were actually having for their shareholders, and ended up being just complete fraud and scam that they were just lying about, and the whole thing imploded. They had on their wall in their lobby their set of values: integrity, trust, work ethic, whatever they were, on their wall. So when people walked in, they're like, oh, these guys got it figured out. They have a set of values, and I appreciate that. And let's be honest. When you know somebody you're working with has a set of values, or somebody on your team has a set of values, it is comforting. It does build trust and respect and improves that relationship like we discussed in the previous episode, which is great for team building and networking and doing future business with others. So it's nice that they had it up there, but it ended up being that they were only up there to give people the warm and fuzzy, and there was no boundaries. Nobody actually followed those values at all. And it comes back to bite you every time. You can only get away with it for so long. So you have to create boundaries. Okay? What are those consequences for you or others who cross those boundaries? You have to be able to hold yourself and your people accountable for not sticking to the values. And that's hard to do, but it has to be done. Because if you don't do it, that's when you start to make those compromises, and that's when you start to go down the road of poor leadership, bad work environments, a whole lot of other bad stuff that you're not looking for, obviously. Okay? Now, the best way to get your people to stick to the values that you set forth for your team, your business, is by you sticking to them. Okay? You can create values. You can create boundaries. But if your team, if your employees see that you're not following them, guess what? Good luck getting them to follow them too. Because the first thing they're going to do is point the finger, be like, hey, we're following your example, boss. And I've seen that in the military. The Air Force has a core set of values. Integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. Okay? It's been ingrained in my brain since ROTC, since I started ROTC in 2005. That's when I started. And then after I graduated, 2010, all the way through 14 years later, it's ingrained. It's written everywhere, on every notebook, every slide deck, every PowerPoint presentation. It's on there. Integrity, service, excellence. There's a little side unofficial value there where it's mission first, people always. It's more of like a mission statement than anything else, but that's the values of the Air Force. And there were a lot of times where you had superior officers and people in leadership positions talking at you, barking orders at the team to follow these values. Oh, you don't have integrity because of this? Excellence in all you do. Why would you, only provide half an effort into this when you're supposed to be providing excellence in all you do? That's not excellence. Oh, we need you to come in at 5 in the morning. Service before self, remember? Service before self. That was probably the big one. If I had a rant about a core value that was abused more than anything else that I've seen in my personal time in the military, in the Air Force, service before self was the one. That was the biggest one that the poor leaders, not the good leaders, not the good peers, not your wingmen that were actually good leaders in and of themselves, of their own daily lives and the people around them, but the poor leaders, they would use that to death. Any excuse to guilt trip you into doing something you didn't want to do, they would use that. Oh, you don't want to come in early? Well, I guess you don't care about service before self. I guess that's not, I guess you forgot that's what you signed up for, stuff like that. Okay? Here's the thing, guys. For the people aspiring to be in managerial positions, executive level positions, anything like that, leading teams, business owners, I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. If you don't lead by example, none of this stuff you're going to learn here or you're going to tell your team is going to mean anything. Okay? You have to lead by example in every aspect. That doesn't mean be perfect all the time and have all the right answers all the time. But your actions have to show that you care about building relationships. You care about sticking to values. You care about following the vision. You care about communicating effectively. You care about building discipline. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all human beings. Okay? We're all going to fall short a lot of times. But your actions have to show that you're trying to improve each and every day. You're working towards improvement. You care about being a better leader for yourself and for your team around you. So you have to hold yourself accountable to sticking to the values you set if you want your team to also stick to that set of values. The whole do as I say, not as I do, that doesn't work on highly talented, highly skilled, emotionally intelligent adults. It just doesn't. The people that works on are people that you should not want on your team anyway. You want people that are better than that share in the values that you want, that understand the vision of your team that you want the team to go and your business to go in. That have bought into the purpose and the why behind why the team does what it does, your strategic vision and mission. And those people that help create these quality, successful teams for you to lead, that's not going to fly. The do as I say, not as I do is not going to fly. Most adults, it's not going to fly. It works on children until about age 7 or 8 when they start actually asking questions. Well, why don't you do that, Dad or Mom? Why are you telling me to do this, but you don't do it? Okay, that's when that stops working. Once a human being starts to be able to ask the questions and try to make sense of it all, that quote unquote leadership style, that falls by the wayside. And if you're still using that tactic, I wouldn't even call it a leadership style. It's a not a sleazy, but a terrible tactic. If you're using that tactic to get people to do what you want them to do, don't expect your team to succeed in the long term. Don't expect the highly talented members of your team to stick around in your organization very long. And don't expect new highly talented individuals to be interested in joining that team because the word's going to get out. Especially if you're in the corporate world, in an industry that is sort of well known, or each organization is familiar with the other. For instance, government contracting. The government contract companies of this nation, of this country, kind of all have a good idea. It's kind of a small family. So if somebody gets the reputation that they're a bad leader, good luck getting other government contractors from different companies to jump ship to join your team. That's just an example. So at the end of the day, you lead by example. You identify what's important to you, which should give you your own buy-in for these values. Then you create those borderlines that you're not going to cross, those thresholds you're not going to cross, and that your team is not going to cross. And then you're going to do that. You're going to lead by example. Through your actions, you're going to stick to those values, and then you're going to hold your team accountable to those values as well. Because now everybody's going to know this is what happens if people don't stick to these values, if people start to get a little morally and ethically compromised. Not here on our team. We're a well-oiled machine. We're not doing that. And that is a very basic but good foundational start to understanding the importance of values and then how to create your own set and start sticking to them. And you work on this stuff a little bit each and every day. All these different concepts and skills and principles that we discuss on this show each week, and how to kind of incorporate these each and every day into your lives and businesses. These are things you work on a little bit each and every day to improve on. There's no expectation that you have a set of values and you're sticking to them immediately. Tomorrow you're going to go in guns blazing to your office and start telling your team, these are our new values, and if you don't stick to them, this is what's going to happen to you. No. Work on it. It's a skill. Leadership is a skill set that you practice each and every day, and you hone each and every day, and you're constantly focusing on improving upon. Every single day, a little bit. That's the way you're going to become a better leader. That's the way that you become better at anything. Small, slow, consistent, targeted improvements and training each and every day is going to get you where you want to go. So don't feel overwhelmed and don't feel the need to have a core set of values literally etched in stone in your office building and holding people, to the fire immediately. Take your time building these out, incorporating them. See how people react to the thresholds you create, the borders that you're creating, those actual red lines. See how your team is doing with that. Adjust fires as necessary. Just work on them. Just focus on them a little bit each and every day. You have a great starting point right here, right now. And with that, we're going to get into the big three, which are part of Spearhead Leadership's core values, just part of, and a big part of my personal daily values that I hold true and I stick to each and every day. They're the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and a better leader overall in life. Number one, exercise every day. Do one activity each and every day to improve your fitness and health physically, mentally, or emotionally. So it doesn't have to be a physical workout every day. It can be reading a book, doing a crossword puzzle to work the brain, taking on a new hobby. It could be praying or meditating, doing breath work, yoga, or full-on exercise, physical exercise. One thing each and every day to focus on improving your fitness and health physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number two is probably the hardest one to do. It's to not be a negative, unkind human being, but be a kind person instead. Don't be a crappy human being. When the opportunity arises to be negative, whether even if somebody was negative and really mean and bad to you and you think they deserve it, take that step back, take that deep breath, detach from those negative emotions, and just remove yourself from that situation. We are constantly flooded with negativity and chaos and garbage in this world, especially over TV and our computers and the internet, social media. It's all over the place. And it's so very easy to respond negatively and trash talk somebody and be a text message tough guy because you think you're just talking to a profile on the internet. But in reality, there's another human being on that other end. And just like how you feel really bad and negative when someone does that to you, they're going to feel the same way. And instead of adding to the negativity and chaos going on in this world, I'm asking you to take that step back, detach from those negative emotions, not reacting on them, and just removing yourself from the situation. That way you're minimizing the negativity and the bad stuff going on in this world, and now you're allowing yourself the mental and emotional capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things in life, like exercising every day. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And you can do this a little bit each and every day by taking time, taking a moment out of your day to actively think about at least one good thing in your life. Whether it's the roof over your head, whether it's running water, toilets, the friends and family you have, one good thing, and then think about what your life would be like without that thing. For example, I had my water shut off recently. They had to fix a broken pipe on the street. They shut the water off for 10 hours on our neighborhood. No announcement, no warning, no email, nothing. They just shut it down and they have no timeline on when it was going to come back. And I have taken running water for granted for my entire life. But when I needed to shower, when I needed to fill my dog's bowl with water, when I needed to wash dishes, when I needed to wash laundry, when I needed to clean anything, do anything, take a drink, whatever, no running water. I had to go figure out another way. And that immediately put me in a state of gratitude, thinking about, man, is it nice that I usually have running water? I am pretty grateful about that. And when you're in that state of gratitude, it's a lot easier to remove yourself from those negative situations so that you can go focus on the positive, productive stuff. So if you do these three things, follow these three pillars a little bit each and every day, I promise you, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being and a better leader overall in life and business and everything. Thank you guys again for tuning into the show. If you're getting value out of this at all, please comment leadership in the comment section on YouTube. You'll get a shout out. If you have questions that you want answered, if you're curious about a particular topic, if you have a leadership situation that you're looking for help on navigating through and leading through, put it in the comments. You can DM us on Instagram at _ Spearhead Leadership. Reach out to us and we'll talk through it, either behind the scenes or we can have a whole episode dedicated to the scenario. Whatever you want, put it in the comments. Give us that feedback. We live off of your feedback. This show is valuable based on what you guys value and what you guys want to learn about from the leadership side of the house, what you want to improve upon. So please bring in the feedback. If you don't like something, put it in the comments. Let us know. And then tell your friends and enemies about it. Spread the good word on the Libretti Leadership Lab. Thank you guys again. Really appreciate you coming on and leaving that feedback and engaging with us. We're here for you. Check us out on www.spearheadleadership.co. If you're interested in working with us at all, that's all I got. Thank you. I love you guys. Stay strong.